Welcome to Potentials. This is Leja, and I have Jerred Murphy once again on Potentials, and he is potentially fantastic. No, he's definitely fantastic. So, Jerred, what would you like to share with us today? I know you
Um,
have thoughts and ideas.
yeah, so I was thinking we'd flip the script a little bit and I'd interview you.
Okay, all right, that sounds like fun.
All right.
I'm up
So I,
for that.
I have a couple just random silly things at first, right? So I've been stuck on you were talking about swimming with manatees recently, right?
Yes.
So just can you tell that story? That's amazing to me.
Oh, well, I mean, it's an early story. I just went to the beach and I just went into the water and there they were. It was just amazing. I was not expecting to see them, but it was a couple. It was a little manatee couple, and they were like kissing. It was the most adorable thing. Like they were submerging and then coming up and kissing, like as if to say, "We're a couple. Hey,
That's,
PDA."
that's cool.
It was adorable. And then they would just go under again. And of course, people started seeing them and, getting all excited and taking video of it. And then they started going away from everyone, but they were amazing. They're huge. They're enormous, but they're
Are
gentle giants. So,
like how big are they, you think?
oh man.
I've never seen one. I'm in
Probably,
Oklahoma.
yeah, they're probably the size of my car, like the length
Yeah,
of the car. Not like as big, but like the
right.
length of a car. And maybe maybe as big around as a dolphin, maybe a little fatter,
Cool.
like a fat dolphin.
That's a band name. So, uh, do you have like a strong connection with animals? Like, do you just have uh this is a random question I just thought of, but like if you're just going about your day, will you have stray cats and stray dogs walk up to you? I'm just starting with random stuff.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. And squirrels seem to like me that randomly, and lizards, and yeah, insects, dragonflies. Um,
But it's
yeah,
funny you say that.
butterflies too. I get a lot of butterflies that come around me. Yeah, so definitely. But I feel like they see that I see them, so maybe that's
Yeah.
what it. Yeah.
All right, so now I want to jump in here with some. So this is one you've asked me before. If if you were to get in a time machine and go back 5 years, and someone were to ask you where you see yourself in 5 years, are you on track, or are there adjustments you need to make? Like, where are you at?
I I just know I'm where I'm supposed to be. I never know where I'm going to.
Yeah.
I never have any definite plans. Like I don't have a 5-year plan. I don't do that because my life has always been swinging from vine to vine, and I've moved a lot. I've traveled a lot. I don't really sit still.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've been here longer than I've been. Um, I mean, yeah, I was in Pennsylvania for a very long time, but I love being in Florida. But I mean, it's not something that if something were to happen and I had to leave and go somewhere else, I could do that. And if
Yeah.
I needed to travel, I would travel. If suddenly I was told you have to go to Antarctica, I would go to Antarctica.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
there's
all.
Mars. I Not Mars, Jupiter. I don't know. I would go wherever.
That's all.
Wherever I'm told to go, I would go.
Yeah. There's a movie that makes me think of. It's called Up in the Air with George Clooney.
Oh, I've
And
never
what?
seen.
Okay. Well, his character, one of his main shticks or like his thing is the backpack, and it was this whole thing about everything in your life needs to fit in a backpack. All your emotions, all of your baggage, all of your physical items.
Right.
Basically, you need to be able to cut ties with physical things, and and be able to move if you need to move. I think that's pretty cool.
Right. Well, that being said, I do have a lot of things in storage in Pennsylvania, but
That's,
yes, I mean, if I had to just pick up and leave, I would do it because it's not about what your material things, they come and go. It's really about what you have inside of you, you know.
yeah.
So that's gonna stay where or go wherever it needs to go.
I'm pretty sure I've almost to a T heard the Dalai Lama say what you just said. Maybe in a
Oh.
passage for a monk.
Maybe.
So
I like the idea of the TARDIS where you're bigger on the inside than you are on the outside.
yeah,
We're all a TARDIS from Doctor Who.
yeah,
Everyone.
yeah. Well, I'm a lot of these questions. I'm not gonna lie. They're Manly P Hall influenced. So, but
Right.
he talks
Like
about that too. Like we are each a universe, right? God dang it! My mom and her husband are watching football in the other room. So sorry, they're screaming.
I can't.
Uh, but like we are each a universe. So like, which makes sense to me. I mean, there's all kinds of living things in your body, and you provide that environment for them. Uh, so like whatever you're putting in your body, and I'm not a saint. I don't always eat the healthiest, and I'll make the best decisions sometimes. But if you, I just think that's a smart way to look at things.
I agree with that. Yeah. We have a little universe inside of it. Well, not a little. We have a huge universe inside of us.
Right.
Right. So you're putting things into the environment of your universe every time you ingest something. That's really cool. I like that.
And emotionally, I think as well. Like,
Yes.
you know,
Energy.
yeah, like
Yeah.
days when you wake up just stressed and you don't know why. I forget the name of this thing. It's something funny as hell, but uh, a lot of ancient people believe that basically we were a part of the universe was a living thing, right? Which makes sense to me, but it's the same thing. You wake up and you're like, why am I in a bad mood today? Well, there's living things on the inside of you that might be thinking the same exact thing.
Yeah. Or there's a war going on inside.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Star Wars
Oh,
is happening inside of you.
I never thought of that. Yeah, that's huge. All right, so I'm gonna start in here since we can assume that nature's perfect, right? All the living things are created to somehow benefit the betterment of nature. What would you say that your true purpose is? Like, what's your soul's mission for this reality? Or do you know yet?
Um, yes and no. I mean, I feel like in the moment, my current purpose, I feel like it can change, maybe.
Yeah,
But my current purpose is to help this transformation that's going on right now,
yeah,
to help accelerate it and help magnify it, and make it, but make it better, make everything better. I mean, I feel like that maybe is my purpose is just to make everything better
yeah. That's awesome. So,
in some
in
way.
I keep running into these people that are kind of on the same. There's a lot more of us than I would have thought that are on the same kind of trajectory.
Yeah.
Um, and oh my gosh, my mom. So I lost my thought on that because of them screaming in the other room. So
Uh,
anyway, I'll move on to the next
a lot of
question.
us are on the same trajectory, is what you were
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, okay, okay. So, but I keep hearing people talk about upgrading consciousness, but those are just words to me. I don't really know what they're talking about. And I'm not saying I have the answers. I don't know either. Um, but what's your take on that? You keep hearing people talk about, oh, well, we're going to upgrade consciousness. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah, that I've never heard the term upgrade, like that actual term, but I kind of feel like what they're just saying is that our consciousness collectively is at a certain level, and we're trying to raise it to a higher level where we see more dimensions than the one that we're in. Like,
So,
We're
Okay.
like we see everything in 3D right now, and there's more dimension to our world in this because it's growing into and it's going through transition where it's going to be into in a higher dimension. Is what
Yeah.
I understand, is what I'm hearing, is what's happening, and I'm feeling it, I'm seeing it. Glitches
Yeah.
are happening, weird things are occurring, strange things. So I feel like when transformations occur, that you start to see the results of that happening, and it you start to feel it. And I just recently saw a video where it shows what 4D looks like um, by using a sphere, and how it looks like it's getting larger, like the sphere actually looks like it's growing, but that's because it's just another dimension.
So
um
whenever people say that, because this always sounded like some bullshit to me, when people say the universe is expanding, maybe that's exactly what's happening. Maybe it's
yeah, I
just
mean, yeah,
okay.
it's expanding is a hard word
Yeah.
to explain.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
It's so
'Cause,
hard when we get tripped up with words because words are so limiting.
yeah,
Our
the man.
language is so limiting.
Yeah, it's a roadblock for sure.
Yeah,
Um. So
that's why I like pictures better. I like images,
yeah,
and I like telepathy and
art.
feelings and
That's what.
intuition. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's really distracting me right now, but it's in a good way. You have, and we both have because we're in the South. We have, fans above our heads, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yours is directly above your hat right now, and it looks
Oh
like you
my
have
gosh.
glowing
I
aura, and like it looks like these like waves of light are coming, but pulsing out of the top of your hat. It's
yeah.
amazing. I'm not high, I swear. Just this is how I am. No, it's cool. You don't have to stop it. No, no, no. I like it. I like it.
Um.
Sorry.
So no, you're good. That's awesome. So unfortunately, if you and I think we've talked about this before, like whatever the singularity, whatever that word means, it's like in my mind that means we're getting closer to the bottom of a funnel, right? If our reality is spiraling downward, we're
Right.
getting closer and closer to that bottom point, and things are getting closer and
That's
closer
the
together.
point. Right.
Yeah. Uh, and I think we talked about this, which speaks to really all of our experience, all of humankind's experience is gonna it can be represented by a dot. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
potentially there are beings who can access that like a file in a computer.
Mm.
Um, so as we get closer and closer down to that singularity event, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to ask the big question: how do you feel about AI?
That's a that's a tough question. Um, yeah, I've had fluctuating feelings towards
Yeah,
AI. It's good and bad. It's just to me, it's a tool that can be
yeah.
used for good and evil. Just like anything.
Table
So
saw,
just
hammer.
yeah, yes. It just depending on music, even like it can be used for good or evil.
Yeah,
Um, so it's just how whatever you want to do with it, right?
yeah.
And
I
as
don't.
far as controlling it, and you know, because that's what people really are afraid of, really. With
Yeah,
people were afraid of computers before they happened. People were afraid of whatever new thing it was. People have always been afraid of something new and afraid of change. And
that's a
I'm
good
not
point.
afraid of change. I like to foresee things. I like to look into the future and feel something about it. But I think that change is always good, and it's something that we need to do. But uh, as far as like making sure that what your intent, that's really what it's about. It's about intent. Where
That's a
you
magic word.
do with it. Yeah, right.
So I just I don't know. I live under a rock. Like I have no idea what's going on in the world, and when I do check in, it seems like people are just getting more and more worried about AI. Uh,
Yeah.
and I just don't know how to feel about it. But I like that answer. I think it is a tool. I think it can be whatever you want it to be. It can run your life if you want it to, or we can
Yeah,
be coexisting like the damn Jetsons.
exactly. Well, and as far as what it's going to do in the future, there's so many different timelines that, you know, it, ways it can go one way or another. And I feel like you choose your timeline. Everybody chooses their own timeline. So whichever one you want to live on, pick that one.
I like that.
And
Reminds me of
focus
the
on it.
choose your own adventure books. Do you remember those?
Yes.
That's what that reminds me of. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, so okay, I got some kind of nerdy Harry Potter-esque stuff. So, and I talk about this all the time, you already know, but like in the esoteric Buddhist philosophy, the soul is split into 7 parts, right? Which makes me think of the 7 Horcruxes in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Uh, so the 4th principle is the spirit animal, right? So that's the last one before you kind of get into uh, less physical concepts. I think I'm spouting this the best I can understand it. I'm not saying I have a super good grasp on it, but if you were to name a spirit animal for yourself, what would you be?
Oh man. I love so many different types of animals that it's hard to pick one, you know? Ah, Phoenix.
Yeah, that's a good one. The reason I ask is that manatee thing. When you told me about the man, that's just been stuck in my head. I think that's so cool.
I love manatees. Yeah, I feel like I'd be some kind of multi-dimensional animal that can traverse through different types of dimensions, you know, like what I like about humans is that we can swim in the water, but we can also live on the land, but we can also be in the
Mm,
air for fun. Um, you know,
huh.
up in space or whatever. Like I
I
want
literally never thought of it like that. That's brilliant. Yeah,
to,
that is multidimensional.
yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
I don't know. I don't have
Yeah,
answers.
I don't
I guess
think
I just did.
I don't think I'd have a one to pick either. Like,
Yeah,
no, I just like animals more than most people, if I'm being honest.
yeah, me too.
um, so with that a spirit animal thing, like, are you more of a daytime or a nighttime person?
Mhm. Well, I'm not a morning person.
Me
That's for
neither.
sure. Unless it's early morning, like, you know, 2 a.m. But I love daytime because I love sunshine, you know, and I love watching the sunset. But I do love the sun. I love sunshine and light. But I do like the night too. The night has its beauty, its own beauty to it.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid of the dark. So,
Oh, really? I-
yeah.
Sometimes I get a little weirded out if I'm like in a area I'm not real comfortable with.
Yeah.
I, the dark does kind of trip me out sometimes. I'm not gonna lie.
I used to be afraid of the dark. Um, I used to be afraid of shadows.
Yes.
Um, afraid of things that I didn't know what they were. But I things have changed a lot for me, and now uh, I feel like I feel everything now, and
Okay.
I can just sense what it is, you know, sort of. I'm not
Okay.
afraid of it because I kind of understand it now. I understand what shadows are. I understand
Yeah.
what darkness is. I understand it, I guess.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, it's like I know we've talked about without darkness, there can't be no light. Like the light has to emerge from something. So,
I
uh,
like the way you put it before that light is birthed through darkness.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
that.
Um, so we were just talking about this before we started recording, but so if this is kind of a random question I just came up with, but sunlight versus moonlight, do you do you like what do you feel a difference inside? Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Maybe because I'm a woman and
Okay.
the divine feminine is connected to the moon.
Y'all are more
Um,
connected to everything. Y'all are more connected to.
uh, I feel like I, you know, I used to like the moon. We were talking about this, how I used to like the moon. I used to think the moon was amazing. And then I found out the sinister things that were going on the moon. And then I started not liking the moon and looking up at it like, I wonder what weird thing is happening up there that I can't see right now, and
Yeah.
being weirded out by it a little bit more. But then I started feeling like things have changed on the moon recently, which we did
Yes.
discuss before, and
Yeah.
I feel like the moon's energy has changed because of that.
It,
Because certain things have happened apparently on the moon more recently that have changed it to a more positive bent, like so, and I'm feeling that now when I look at the moon. I'm feeling that sense of the landscape has changed. Yes, on the moon, there's no more man on the moon because there's been mining operations on the moon that has changed the landscape of the moon. That's why you don't see his face anymore.
right.
Um, but also there's other things that have occurred on the moon that are setting things up for maybe better things to happen here. And whatever was on the moon, I'm not saying that there's not some bad things going on there now. It's
Right.
probably similar to what's happening here
It's like
and on
any.
Mars and on any planet right now. Things are changing drastically right now. So there's transformations. Why why we're saying that there's a transition going on energetically, because everything is changing, physically, energetically, spiritually, mentally. Everybody's progressing. It's a progression instead of a regression. We're
Yeah.
progressing. The sine wave is going up now instead of down. So
Right.
we're part of the sine wave where things are going uphill. So it's
Right.
progressing, and so that's changing the energy and the way things are starting to happen.
That's awesome.
And so I feel like that's the when I look at the moon, I like it now, and I take pictures of it and feel it. And the sun, I love it. I've always loved the sun, but now that I know what it is, I love it even more. Now that I know that it's a portal and that it's a way to travel. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't talk about that. That's huge. Can you
yeah,
expand a little bit?
I mean, I don't personally know. I haven't
Right.
experienced it
Right.
myself, and I'm just riffing on this really, but I feel like that's what I'm coming to the understanding. Not everybody uses understanding, but
Yeah.
but I am coming to a feeling of, yeah, things are, we're getting to a point where we may be able to travel in, through the sun into another existence somewhere else.
Mainly
Um,
Paul talks about that, like to a T, what you just said. And he doesn't talk about entities that much or aliens or anything. I mean, he was under the impression that a lot of that came from within, and
mm,
that these things have potentially been here the whole time, but we're
like an
just.
egregore, maybe.
Yes, yeah, yeah. In
Mm,
my mind, that's another word for universe. Universe, egregore, it's the same thing. So when they talk about the multiverse, we're just potentially living in someone like John Dee's egregore. You know what I'm saying? And we're learning how to get the hell out.
yeah.
And I don't
Right.
know. I don't know.
Did you ever see the movie Being John Malkovich?
Yes, that movie's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Where you're like stuck, they were stuck inside of his head,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
I'm about to rewatch that, Linda. Dang. Yeah. That movie's deep.
yeah.
But they say that only I think it's hydrogen can escape a black hole. I think it was hydrogen. Well, what the hell is our reality made of? There's hydrogen in everything. And
Yeah.
I've I've heard stuff that the elements are just actually hydrogen spinning at different speeds. So like it's really all the same thing. It's just the spin is what changes it. And I think that maybe the moon and the sun play into that. Maybe this trap isn't as much of a trap as we think it is.
Yeah. I feel like it's a trap because we've been in it for so long, and it's just like the proverbial, like the bird in the cage that doesn't know that it can get out even though the door is open.
Right, like
And
Plato's cave, the allegory of the cave.
yeah,
Uh,
like the get out, but we're just realizing it now.
right. So if you were to look into your past, like when did you start going down this alternative information route? Like, was there an event that happened, or did you just kind of slowly stumble
Yeah,
into it?
both. It was. I've always been, ever since I can remember, not this. Not. I never thought the same as my family or anyone else around me. Like I've just always been, just knew that I was different from everybody else that I knew, and it didn't have the same thoughts. I didn't have the same. Even then, even when I was being programmed, I still didn't. The programming didn't always take.
Okay.
It would never completely sink in. I would always have these other thoughts that were like, no, this doesn't seem right. It feels more like what I've always felt,
Okay.
and so I, but I would not, I would only put it to words, like in written word. Like I would write poems or I would write lyrics, and I wouldn't say it out loud. I wouldn't talk, I never really talked a lot about what I was thinking or feeling. I just always put it into some kind of a painting, and either an image or a song, because I didn't know how to put it into conversation or words. So I just left it in some kind of other realm, some other creative realm. So
Maybe maybe you've got some of that muse blood. Maybe you've got some in your DNA.
I have some interesting blood in my DNA I've discovered recently, but so that was it. So I, like eventually, gradually, started really going down the rabbit holes, all of them. um, I'm gonna say maybe around 2010, uh, different people started appearing in my life that were questioning my belief system, you know,
Okay.
and they were very good about it. They didn't, I felt like they were put into my life for that reason. And they did it in a way that made me start really thinking about it instead of immediately just rejecting it. So when I started thinking about what they were saying, I started opening my mind to those other thought, realizing that there were other ways of thinking out there, but not that I wasn't, like I was always involved, interested in other people's cultures. And I had
Yeah.
lots of friends in college that were from other parts of the world. And I always wanted to travel, go to other parts of the world, find out what those cultures were. The kinds of
Yeah.
shows I would watch on TV back when I used to watch them were always about other cultures and what it was like in other
Yeah.
countries. So other races, other people. So I've always been fascinated with that anyway. But opening up my mind to what those other people, especially primitive tribes, I've always felt like they were closer to knowing stuff than we were. I always
Yeah.
felt like they had it more together than we did as a culture. And so I totally focused on that and started relating to those kinds of things and finding out what were their belief systems. And but they were still all belief systems. So I started reading, I guess really started reading
Yeah.
a lot of books. Manly P. Hall was one of them. Um, just all these different kinds of esoteric books that the Emerald Tablets,
Yeah.
uh, they're all over there. I can see them from here, sort of. I have a whole library full of them. But the autobiography of a yogi, was very eye-opening.
I
Um,
that's awesome.
so there's so many different books that I started reading. Charles Fort, um, I read that too. Uh, yeah, I mean, I could just name all of them, but I'm not going to. Anyway, it's just there's so many books. I couldn't stop reading. I just read. I still do like read about 5 books at a time.
Yeah, we
You know,
talked about that. That's so
so
funny.
I
Can't keep
can't.
up
I
there.
just can't stop putting stuff in my mind. I keep wanting to read more. Then the papers that Dave gives us in the group, and that's a totally different type of reading. It's more
Yeah.
technical. There's terminology that I don't totally understand, so I have to look it up, and then that sends me in another direction.
I
So,
know. I do that
it's
same thing.
combining all of the different types of knowledge that's out there and
Yeah,
putting it and feeding your that into your consciousness. Not even your brain, but your consciousness. You just being aware of it, I feel like, and that in and of itself is helping your mind to expand. Not even if you don't completely understand it or wrap your head around it yet, the idea of putting it in there, and letting it
yeah,
saturate and ruminate, and it's going to take root eventually. And then when
yeah.
other things come up, you're going to make that connection because you've already got it in there.
You can grab it from your mental library. Yeah. It's just like a different customs in other cultures, things they consider polite that
Yeah,
we would. It's the same concept. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I like
yeah.
that. Um, where was I? Okay, so hold on, I can't read my handwriting. Oh, okay. So if you were to pick any point in history, right? Like in the past, say 200 years ago, their day-to-day life would not be, it'd be almost unrecognizable in a way, right? Like we're all on our phones, we depend on technology for so much. So,
Right.
having said that, how much stock do you put into modern technological trends or any really kind of modern trend? It seems like you maybe have indirectly answered that. You kind of cut your own path, but if you could expand, I mean, like, what the hell? Even just looking back a few years ago, nobody has a regular iPod. Um, things like that that are just seem so all encompassing in our culture, in our reality. So, where do you think we're headed?
I feel like have you ever read Brave New World by
I
Aldous Huxley?
absolutely love Aldous Huxley. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's where it's going to go, but that's a thought, where there's going to be almost like two different separate paths that you can choose. But I think there's going to be multiple. I don't think it's just going to be two. I think it's going to be multiple. It's already becoming like that, where you can choose depending on where you live, your proximity to things, what
yeah,
kind of lifestyle you want to have. And do you want to live in that, whatever that wall that they're going to build where you can live inside the wall and everything's going to be within
yeah,
reach. You don't have to go anywhere outside the wall. You, I guess maybe a lot of people will want to do that, but that's, whatever they want to do. Maybe some people will want to live on a farm out in the middle of nowhere and raise their own, animals and their own food, grow their own food, and have a little community. And maybe some
yeah,
people will do that. And it's just a matter of where how you want to live your life. I
yeah, yeah. I like that. There's lots of factors that play in. Yeah, like where you're at, who you're around, what
yeah,
you have access to.
I don't think it has to be scary. I think there's always fear around things when new things happen and things are going to change and lifestyles are going to change. Um, I think it can be what what you want, and I feel like everybody has their own desires. And if you came into this life choosing what experience you wanted to have, right? So I want to have the full on AI experience, right? If that's what I wanted, that's what you're gonna go
Yeah,
for, right? If I came into this life and said I want to go for the whatever, like the more organic kind of lifestyle, then that's what you do. I feel like
yeah,
it's not going to change. Like if you decide to come back to Earth and have the Earth experience, you're
yeah.
going to choose whatever package you want to choose and whatever experiences you want to go with that. So,
I like that. Yeah, I like that. That that makes me think about I think it was Dave Brandon when they interviewed Sean Cahill and they were talking about Helter Skelter, that Beatles song. When I
yeah,
bottom, I go back to the top of
On
the
the slide
right.
and I stop and I turn and I go for a ride and then I get to the bottom and I see you
I
again.
see you again, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think
yeah,
that's I think that's what it is, and we've all maybe just picked every path imaginable, right? And at a certain point, you go to the next level.
right.
Um, but I think it's obviously more complicated than that. I mean, I think your heart has a lot to do with that. I think that some people who are um, stuck in this simulation, whatever you want to call it, they quit caring about other people a long time ago, and they're never gonna move on. Unfortunately, I'm not saying that negatively. I still got love for them, but some people just they're
Do you
stuck
think
in
it's
physical desires.
okay, right. Do you think it's because is it because they chose that or is it because they they got hoodwinked into coming back?
That's an incredible question. I don't know. Uh, I think maybe both. I mean, I think there's probably instances of both, but I think, oh wow, I don't know, Linda. I got to spend some time with that one. I don't know.
I wonder about that myself and I wonder how many people will be really truly stuck when at the end of their life they no longer have to be trapped here because because that trap is gone, the soul
Yeah,
trap. I mean, it's from what I understand, you're no longer going to be hoodwinked when you leave. You will
right.
have the option to choose whether or not you want to come back or whether you want to have something else happen, go somewhere else or
Yeah,
do something else.
like
So
you have
if
the
those,
hoodwinker.
I mean, I like to think that that's going to be a possible, escape for some of these people that have been trapped for so long and are so despondent and in such a negative spot that maybe they'll be able to finally break free from it at this point. I
Do
would
you
like
have
to.
do you have any loved ones in your life that maybe fit that profile? Like, I think maybe we all have at least one or two.
I have
I
some that I feel like they're living a good life, but it's very three-dimensional
yes,
and they they feel like they're happy because they don't know any other way or any different.
right.
So I don't feel bad for them. I feel like they're living what they chose to do when they came here and it's not a horrible life. It's fine. They're doing okay, like family members and stuff like that. But then there are other people that I know that are unhealthy, physically unhealthy, and they could be so much healthier if they
Yeah,
could break free from their mindset of, whatever their limitations are and what they feel their limitations are,
so
or giving the power away to some other person or being. And if they could
yeah,
let go of that and see that they've got it within themselves to be able to heal themselves, that's really what I'd like to see happen. But
that's huge. So that's like, say you're out late. Say if myself or yourself, we may have a gig or something, and we may driving home at 1 in the morning. Don't stop at McDonald's. That's not real food. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
That's where I struggle personally. Is
mm,
like with little decisions like that. And now I'm not eating McDonald's anymore. Like,
good,
but
good.
but it's so much easier to take these fast food options or whatever instead of taking that little bit more time or that little bit more money. And if you replace the word money with magic
Energy.
or energy, right, right, or time, that's what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Uh, I don't want to give my time to something that's literally killing me, like this,
yeah,
or like, you hear all these crazy things about people being in the food, and I
yeah.
don't know. I don't
There,
know.
that's interesting because I was at my daughter's house a few months ago, and she was what in the background, wasn't even listening to it, but it was a Buffy and the Vampire episode.
Yo, I loved that show back in the day. Yeah.
Interesting that she was undercover working at a fast food place where they were accused of putting human meat in the food.
Right. Holy hell.
and it was
Yeah.
showing how it happened. And I
Oh,
was like, that's not a coincidence.
no.
That was
No.
not a coincidental episode. They
Wow.
were showing,
I forgot
and
about
that was
that.
in the 90s. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've probably been eating humans for a long time. And then there was what's her name? She's married to John Legend.
Oh, I know
Um
exactly who you're thinking, talking about, and I can't think of her name either.
Chris Chrissy something.
I'm a big John Legend fan.
But she's uh kind of freaky because she talks about eating humans, and like she
What?
pretends that she's joking. She's like, oh, if somebody put something in front of you and you knew it was, a human, would you eat it? I mean, what if it was really good? And she was just like saying that to somebody, like, and it was just creepy. Like, I don't know,
Oh,
she freaked me out, man.
yeah. Some of these, I'll put air quotes, elites
Yeah,
are into some truly horrible things. I don't know if I'm starting to suspect that some of these people, sorry, I'm plugging my phone in, it's about to die, are almost built into this simulation, whatever you want to call it. Like they're, I don't know, because it's just hard for me to believe that a person can be born as like a non-local form of consciousness, like not from here, and can be talking about eating people and talking about, I don't know, like all these horrible war crimes. And like in my mind, these politicians aren't real people. They're not real people. I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know what I think they are. I don't have the answer. But
yeah,
even if it's just like a metaphor, they aren't real people.
yeah. No, I feel like they're definitely a hybrid of some type, or they've been uh there's walk-ins now or whatever. Um, they've been compromised, or they're a clone, or who knows. There's so many different
Yeah.
truths out there of what it is. I feel like life is like game theory.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's funny you say that. Yeah. That's
This
huge.
life is just like game theory. You
It
never
is.
know.
It is. I mean, it's like there are rules, kinda. There
Yeah,
are, but there are ways around it. It's like
yeah, yeah. There's,
all
there's
these
Easter eggs.
all these
There's
things we don't see that somehow can get a grasp on your mind and your uh decisions you make, and it's not you, you know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel you on
Um
that.
so having said that, when you look back, how do you feel about some of the art that used to really influence you? Like, are there artists you maybe don't have a connection to that you used to?
Yeah, I mean, art in terms of art, yeah, definitely. My taste in art has changed um to a lot more of a consciousness based art, you know. I've always loved psychedelic art, though, I have to
Yeah,
say. I've
yeah,
always been into that, and multidimensional art. And I've always felt it. Like I feel art more than I see it. I see it
yeah,
as work, but I feel it like I feel like if I look at a painting, if I feel like I can walk into that painting, then that is there's something to it.
yeah.
Ah,
I found
he's
this dog in a parking lot like a year ago,
oh,
and now my mom
he's
got another dog.
he's adorable.
Named
Hi,
her. Her name's
hi,
Nico.
hi, Nico.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. I don't know. Uh, I don't know. I feel like art's just like we were talking about food just now. It's what you take in. It can really affect you.
Yeah.
Um, if you listen to angry music all the time, guess what? You're probably gonna be angry.
You go through stages, I feel like, though. I feel like you listen to the music that you're feeling in the moment. The
Yeah,
music matches whatever you're going through. Like you'll turn the radio or whatever, or you'll go on Spotify or listen to whatever you're feeling in the moment. "Oh, I feel like this or I feel like that. Same thing with food. I feel like eating this or I feel like that. Because we have so many choices in this culture. It's crazy, but because we have so many choices, it's like we can let it match our mood or we can let it influence our mood.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I like that. That's big. Um, so if it's, I don't know, what's the difference? Like, can one be both?
Yes. Yes. Yes, because you can choose to experience a certain type of music that is healthy for you. Like every once in a while, and not every once in a while, I try to, on the regular, listen to Debussy, or however you say it,
Oh, yes.
or Chopin,
Yeah.
because I feel like they are so high frequency that it literally makes me feel a certain way. And
Yeah.
if I want to start out my day in a really good way, just like if you want to start out your day, you're going to eat something that's good for you, you're going to take your vitamins. They're like my vitamins.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're my energetic vitamins. So I do that. And then if I want to feel even better, I'll go for a walk in the sunshine and be around trees, and try to look for some nice, beautiful flowers to sniff. So
Yeah.
I want to raise my frequency. That's what I do. If I want to feel good for a while, like really good
Yes.
long time, I do that. And it can last me, if I do all of that, it can last me all day. I can be on that
Yeah.
vibe all day because I started my day out that way.
That's
Um,
awesome.
so, but then if I'm feeling a certain way, or I want to feel like I want to connect more to the earth, or I want to feel more grounded, then I have to listen to something that's a little more bass oriented,
Yeah. I can dig
you know,
that.
or something with a lot of drums in it that are, like
Yeah.
gonna make me feel something really rhythmic and,
Yeah.
make me feel like I want to make my body move.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I
Like
mean,
that is more, and then the vibrations of the bass and the drums and the feeling of that movement that you feel with it. It's more of your root chakra. And it's more of your
yeah.
connecting to the earth, connecting to the ground, and the vibrations coming from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
So
that.
you can
I like
choose music how you want to connect to your energy space. I'm sounding like such a hippie.
well, yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that. Um, it's just if you look at things objectively, music's like anything else. It's and I love pop music. I truly have.
Yeah. Me
That's my heart. But having said that, music's been dumbed down a lot. People used to listen to stuff like Debussy and all these symphonies. That was it exercised their brain and it exercised their emotions and it exercised their. An orchestra is nothing but an egregore. It's all these people like a cello player's music does not look the same as a percussionist music.
Yeah.
If you're a percussionist, but that triangle note is beyond important. It
Yeah.
is the new arrival of the new section of the music. So um I think I think some things have been lost.
Yeah. Because I feel like in the classical era, there was a lot more of a uh, what's the word I'm looking for? You had more of a, are you still there? I lost you. Hmm. Are you there?
Yeah, I lost you for a minute. All right.
I lost you for a minute. That was weird. Um, yeah, there was more of a range of highs and lows
Yeah.
and more depth in that kind of
Yeah.
music and
Yeah.
more dimension. There was a lot more dimension to it. And
Yes.
now I don't know. I'm not going to say all music is like that, but a lot of it has lost its kind of soul, you know?
there's no depth. It's all
depth and soul.
disposable.
Yeah. Because
It's
you can listen to like old blues music. You can listen to old uh like Muddy Waters or something,
yeah,
and it's so simple, BB, just a guitar and a voice, and that's
yeah.
all. It's just bare bones, but you feel it, like you feel
It's
it.
powerful.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's just you connect with it, and it's just so amazing. Like it's deep and heavy, and real and
yeah,
raw, and I
for
like that
sure.
too.
Yeah, catch me for my next breakup whenever that'll happen. Listening to one, what is it? One bourbon, one whiskey,
One
one
scotch,
bourbon.
one beer.
Yeah, catch me
George
listening to that with
Thorogood.
teary eyes.
George
Yeah.
Thorogood. Yeah.
So just any of that, like
Yeah.
there, but yeah, it's like the flip side of that. So the orchestra thing, but it can also be beautiful. I don't know. Art is something else. Art is something else. It's hard to explain.
I've
Uh,
I just recently with music made a had this connection in my I was walking to work in the morning and all of a sudden got struck with this idea of the fact that we're all like notes. Every single human being is
ooh,
is a note, each
yeah,
one of us. And we all carry our own frequency and we all
yeah,
have our own pitch. And but we can change that at any time because we vibrate at different frequencies during the day all the time, from moment to moment. You can change your
I like.
pitch and frequency depending on what you decide to think about or feel in the moment.
Yeah,
So and then there's some people that tend to vibrate at the lower frequencies, but we need those people. There's nothing wrong
yeah.
with
Gotta
that.
be here.
You know,
Right.
it like you'll look at somebody and they'll be a like a drunk laying on the street, and you're like, why are they here? Well, they're here because they're the bass note, and we need that bass note.
Yes, that's
And there's
huge. Yeah,
nothing
I've never
wrong
thought
with
of it.
that bass note. Don't get rid of all the
No,
bass notes. What would we do?
no.
And there's some
We'd fall.
beautiful like creature, and she's gorgeous walking down the street. She's blonde, and she's got these gorgeous sparkling blue eyes and this great figure and beautiful smile, and she looks at you and she smiles right at you, and you're like, oh my god, she just made my heart skip a beat.
Yeah,
She's like the really
yeah.
top high note that like that, oh, the opera singers hold out.
Right,
And we need
right.
her
Yeah,
too.
but you need all that. You need all that. Yeah, that's
Yes, we
beautiful,
need all of
Linda.
these
Yeah.
people. So that's what I was looking at when I was walking to work. I was seeing all these people and realizing what note they were.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
And it was all part of the
I'm gonna
same
incorporate
song
that.
of the day. It was like a song. I'm like, I'm walking in a song right now. I'm in a living song. This is awesome.
Well, all these creation stories talk about our reality being birthed through spoken word, right? Like
Yeah, for
there's something
frequency.
to that. There's something
Yeah,
to that.
yes. It's a beautiful realization when you can have it hit you like that. It's an amazing
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, it's
It's like
like
we're living in all different types of dimensions all the time. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
simultaneously. Our whole life is
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
And sometimes we get to
That's
see
all
it.
it is. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Dang it, Linda, my phone's at 1%. Can we
Oh,
can we do a part two for this? Can we do a
yes.
part two?
Yes,
All
we
right,
can.
cool.
Well, this is part two.
All right.
We're gonna do a part three because three is a magical number.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah, spirituality, huh?
Yes. So we'll do a
All right.
part three, and thanks for being on part two. And
Yeah.
we will talk again soon.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
For
All right,
now,
bye.
bye.
Bye.